So hey guys, welcome to a new movie review. Today I'm actually going to be talking about a director's cut of a film that's already been around for a couple of years, and that's Zack Snyder's Justice League. So kind of long story short with kind of why this version exists and why the 2017 version exists of this movie is back in late 2016, early 2017 when I'm sure this film was still in production. Zack Snyder did leave this production. He was the original director of this movie. He directed, Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel before this movie. So this was kind of his third Superman epic in a way for Warner Brothers. Um, Family tragedy happened to him. A lot of creative differences happened between him and Warner Brothers. And it was just a really unhealthy situation to be in, obviously, with losing one of his children caused by suicide, I believe. He was in a very tough position. He was in a very tough stage of life, and so he left the production. And so basically, the production was still going. Warner Brothers still scheduled the movie for November of 2017, and they brought in Joss Whedon from the Avengers movies, the first two Avengers movies anyway, to basically go in and finish the movie, and that was the theatrical version of Justice League that we got back in 2017. Due to kind of the not so great financial success of the movie, Warner Brothers did still have a lot of Zack Snyder's footage from Justice League laying around in the studio, probably on a computer somewhere, I'm assuming, since it's all digital video footage. And they basically came to an arrangement. HBO Max was made to kind of be their streaming platform and things like that. So basically, they cut a deal with Zack Snyder. They knew they had a lot of his footage still. And for the second time in a Superman project history, because this is the second time this has happened, with Superman 2 being kind of the first time something like this has happened, where two different significant cuts of the movie exist. Basically, they allowed Zack Snyder to be full creative control, use the score that he originally intended, which we're going to get here in my review, and things like that. So basically, he had full creative control. It ended up being a 4-hour cut of the movie, which is a crazy long length for a movie. And so we got Zack Snyder's Justice League. So overall, guys, for the synopsis of this movie, if you have not seen the original Justice League from 2017, this film kind of has a similar synopsis in the sense that Batman and Wonder Woman lost Superman tragically during the events of Batman vs. Superman, and they kind of realized just how awful they were being to Superman, and obviously with him taking his life to take out Doomsday, basically it was up to them to kind of form a team and make sure that other people who are quote-unquote metahumans are treated properly, and basically that they use their powers for good. And with a new threat named Steppenwolf kind of coming to Earth, looking for something called Mother Boxes, they really need a team to kind of take Steppenwolf down. He's clearly a much bigger threat than Doomsday was in that Batman vs. Superman movie. And with Superman gone, and only Batman and Wonder Woman kind of to protect Earth, they look around for other metahumans like Aquaman, like the Flash, like Cyborg, to basically take down Steppenwolf and to make sure that they become Earth's protectors and kind of leave Superman with a good name, and kind of become the new entity of Superman while he is away. And obviously there is a whole subplot involving bringing Superman back to life. But overall, guys, I really enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League. I am going to get to some positives and negatives here, so there is some things about it that I wasn't completely happy with. But for the most part, I could definitely see why a lot of DC fans, and maybe even a couple people at Warner Brothers too, were pretty happy with how this turned out. It really does feel like something that Zack Snyder would make. It definitely has a very epic feel to it. So for those who liked Man of Steel like I did, you'll be very happy with kind of the more nods to Man of Steel this time. I wasn't huge on Batman vs. Superman, but they kind of keep the tone of that movie intact a little bit more than what Joss Whedon did with the movie when he took over the production in 2017. There's a lot of things about this movie that you'll really, really like if either you're a Zack Snyder fan or a DC fan. So for my positives and negatives of Zack Snyder's Justice League, I think first and foremost, I think this is kind of the reason why the Zack Snyder Justice League thing got made, is the Darkseid moments. Darkseid is in this version of Justice League, and it's no spoiler at all because he's on almost all the trailers for this movie. So unless if you haven't seen any trailers at all for Zack Snyder's Justice League, that really doesn't give anything away because he's in almost all the promotional footage for this cut of the movie. All the Darkseid moments in this are very, very good. They're very dark, very evil. You definitely get the sense that Darkseid is this very strong presence. He's definitely kind of the Thanos figure of the DC universe. All the Darkseid stuff was handled very, very well. And if we did ever get, or maybe, who knows, maybe after the success of this movie, we might eventually get a Justice League 2 with Zack Snyder, but probably unlikely at this point, though. The Darkseid stuff is very, very good here. So I was very happy with that as a DC fan. I think those who are wondering what the Darkseid moments, he's the big villain in DC, obviously, what they looked like in the Zack Snyder cut, they're very, very good here, and I can definitely see why a lot of people are probably going to be very happy with all the Darkseid stuff in this movie. Because the movie is so long, it is 4 hours long, so make sure you take a bathroom break every once in a while, especially if it's on HBO Max. You can kind of take your own little intermissions every once in a while. Because it is such a long movie, there is a lot more time spent on the characters, and as a result, each hero gets more development and more things to do. We kind of get to see a little bit more of what was going on with each hero before they were asked to form this Justice League team, specifically with the Flash and Aquaman. We really get a lot more time with them, and Cyborg definitely plays a much bigger role in this movie than he did in the Joss Whedon version of this movie. So just a lot more time is spent with the characters. Each hero gets more development, and I just felt happier as a fan as a result because each member of this team gets a little bit more something to do this time around. There's also some great small moments that Zack Snyder included in his cut of the movie. One scene in particular that I really, really like just because it really displays what the Wonder Woman character does for society is it doesn't give anything away. Specifically, if you saw the 2017 cut, this scene basically is still intact for both versions. Long story short, Wonder Woman saves a bunch of people at a bank robbery, and when she's kind of making sure everybody's all right, a little girl steps forward. She has a big smile on her face and tells Wonder Woman when she grows up she wants to be exactly like her. And so she basically pats her on the shoulder and tells her you can be exactly who you ever want to be. So there's small moments like that that I think are really strong here, that really kind of show what these characters are basically representing to both people and the DC comic fans and things like that. So it was kind of cool to see what Zack Snyder was willing to do with just certain small moments like that to kind of make certain scenes a little bit more interesting like that. And kind of like what I just mentioned earlier, because the runtime is longer, we also get to see characters that we didn't get to see in that original cut of Justice League. Specifically, Willem Dafoe's character gets a little bit more to do this time around. I don't think Joss Whedon kept any of the Willem Dafoe stuff in his version of Justice League, but so we get to see characters like that. We get to see a little bit more with Mera from the Aquaman movie. We get to see a little bit more with the love interest that Barry Allen has, the character of the Flash, kind of what he was interested in pre-Justice League stuff and everything like that. So there's just more time with characters. We get to see more time with them. We also get to see more time with kind of what Cyborg's family life was like with him and his mom and him and his dad, and how him and his dad really didn't kind of get along a lot, just because his dad was in the laboratory working on stuff all the time. So they definitely play off of that a lot more in this version of the movie. So there's just certain things like that I think that really benefit this movie overall. Also, the character of Steppenwolf in general, he gets more development as a villain. His CGI, by the way, is a lot better. I did not like the CGI at all for Steppenwolf in the theatrical cut of Justice League. It looked like a cheap PlayStation 2 graphic that you'd find in a $5 bin in the mid-2000s. The CGI they used originally in Steppenwolf really did not look very good. I don't know if Joss Whedon had to just push this thing out the door, or he was just not very interested in Steppenwolf, or what happened there, or the CGI artist just kind of lost faith in the project with Zack Snyder leaving originally. I don't know what happened to Steppenwolf's original CGI, but whatever they did, whatever the kind of tweaking they had to do to make this cut work better, he looks a lot better here. There's actually an actual emotion from Steppenwolf this time. It doesn't feel like this cheap PS2 mouth moving quickly kind of a graphic. It really does look like this character expressing emotion and showing kind of his anger and his fear. And like I said, there is more development with Steppenwolf. You get to kind of learn more why he wants to be able to please Darkseid and want to work alongside Darkseid and have him come to Earth and have Darkseid kind of be his mentor and to basically show him the way of leading a planet and things like that. So there's definitely more development with that, and I think it really benefited the film overall. For my negatives, though, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, this is a 4-hour cut of the movie, and to this day, I can't name a single film that needs to be 4 hours long. That is an incredibly long length for a movie. I would say by the third hour, I was really like, okay, let's wrap this up, let's wrap this up, let's wrap this up. It's an incredibly long length. My neighbor's vacuuming upstairs. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's incredibly long length for a movie. I think a good solid, if I really had to sit down with Zack Snyder and kind of set a limit for the runtime for this, I would say for this specific cut of the movie, I would say a good solid 2 hours and 50 minutes would have been perfect. I think that would have eliminated a lot of the really unnecessary stuff. I think that would have kept the film on point. You would have been able to keep all the great stuff about the Zack Snyder cut. 4 hours is a little too much. So I thought that part of the movie was a little extreme. Yes, Warner Brothers, I'm sure, gave Zack Snyder complete control over this director's cut, but that's a little long. I can't name a movie that really needs to be 4 hours. This movie in particular does not need to be 4 hours. Junkie XL, who originally scored this movie, his score was not used in the theatrical cut of Justice League. He was replaced with Danny Elfman in the theatrical cut, who I really like a lot, by the way. They use his score of what they were going to do with his score in this movie. I can see why Warner Brothers didn't want to use it. It's not a good score. I really liked what Danny Elfman did much better, given that Danny Elfman didn't even have enough time to do his score. He basically pumped out something that the best he could in the time that he was given. I actually kind of liked his score a little bit better than what Junkie XL did with the extra time that he was given. I can see why Warner Brothers did not want to use this score, or whether it was Joss Whedon who made that choice. It's a really bad score. I guess to give you an example, on the scene where Wonder Woman saves a bunch of people from a bank robbery, the score they used originally was really exhilarating. They used her theme from the Wonder Woman movie in 2017. It was a really exhilarating scene. It was very powerful, very strong. The fighting choreography was really good. A lot of that stayed intact for the most part. But where I had a problem with it is the Junkie XL score kind of made me feel a little sleepy about it this time around. So from going from exhilarating scene to sleepy scene is not a good transition. So I can kind of see why Warner Brothers did not want to go with the score. So did not like what Junkie XL did with the score. Warner Brothers had every right to use the Danny Elfman score instead. There's also some audio in this movie where I actually had to turn the subtitles on for this. So thank God HBO Max provided that for people. There's just a lot of scenes where people are really, really quiet and they don't say their lines very loudly. And these are clearly scenes that Zack Snyder included in there. So I don't know if he just didn't improve the audio at all on certain scenes. But certain scenes I had to have the subtitles turned on just to hear what people were saying. And I had to keep my computer was completely turned all the way up. So it was not a computer thing. It's not a TV thing. If any of you ran into that issue with your smart TV, I think it was just weak audio. So I think it was just something where he had a file on a computer somewhere, really wanted to use it still, went with it anyway, didn't improve the audio, and just kind of went with it. I think the scene in particular that was really bad on was the scene where Diane Lane and Amy Adams, who was Martha Kent and Lois Lane respectively, are sitting down and kind of catching up on life with each other. That scene in particular, I thought the audio was really pretty bad on. There's also just a lot of unnecessary footage. Going back to Martha Kent again, there's a scene where we kind of see her foreclose her home and things like that. We learn through characters and through conversations that this happened in the theatrical cut, and I kind of wish Zack Snyder could have kept with that a little bit more. Really unnecessary scene. There's just a lot of scenes like that where you get through the scene and it's over with and you're kind of back to the footage that you're familiar with from the original Justice League, and you're like, we kind of didn't need that. So there's just a lot of unnecessary footage every once in a while that they really kind of didn't need for this. I also thought the episode name thing wasn't very helpful at all. I know originally they were going to do this as a mini-series, I guess, on HBO Max. But it didn't help this movie in particular. I thought the episode name thing could have been completely removed. I would have liked this film a lot better without the little episode name things. Also, if you don't like Zack Snyder's slow-mo effect, unfortunately, it's kind of used in full swing here. Something that Joss Whedon did avoid when he was filming the Justice League movie. So Zack Snyder's slow-mo effect does come back into play here. Kind of wish that he learned from his mistakes and didn't do that again. But unfortunately, because this is his cut of the movie, he does use a lot of slow-mo effects. Kind of wish he didn't do that this time around. But overall, I'm going to give the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League an 8.5 out of 10. I really like this movie. I think I like this better than the theatrical cut. Yes, the theatrical cut does have things about it that I like a lot better, like the Danny Elfman score and things like that. I also thought Joss Whedon had a happier tone to the movie, which I appreciated a little bit more. But this is still a good movie. I really like what Zack Snyder did here. 8.5 out of 10 for me. Be sure to check this movie out.